Hey everyone, welcome to the live. Let me know, it looks like my camera might be a little high, like maybe you need to see a little bit lower, so I'll probably adjust my camera in just a minute. But let me know, can you see me well? Can you hear me? Are there any echoes? And give me a minute to adjust that camera. I'm going to try to adjust it down just a little bit. Hopefully I don't make you dizzy or sick while I do this. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think that's a little bit. Well, you can see my pretty shirt now. Might be a little too much. Let me see what happens. Okay, we're going to live with that. We are going to live with that. But hey, everybody, how are you doing? Hope you are having a nice evening. I am so thankful that it's Thursday. So thankful the week is getting close to being over. I'm ready for the weekend. Thanks, Angel B. Yeah, look at that shirt. It's your colors, purples, pinks, rainbow. But I appreciate you guys all being here. Now, tonight is the opening game of the football season. So this isn't going to be a super long video or a super long live, but I want to show you how to make a design that I've been playing around with. And so we're going to do it in both Cricut Design Space and Silhouette software. And I meant to put my link for Silhouette in the video description, and I forgot to. But if you saw the thumbnail, you saw that I've been working on this shirt. Let me kind of clean this table off. Now, our seniors are already meeting with the company around here is Jostens. They're ordering their things. They're already putting in for all kinds of things, shirts. They're already looking at announcements. And so to get the most out of the year, I think that if you like to sell items, I think it's a great time to do those senior shirts. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, let me say hello to some people. And I'm going to go kind of quickly. Like I said, I need to get off of here not in too far from you because my son's here, my husband's here. They made ribs. So let's go. All right. Hey, Unbiased. Welcome. Hey, Ruji. Hey, Gma Rose Gems. Hey, Kitty and Doggy. Hi, Karen Murray. Hey, Paula. Welcome. Hi, Mrs. JB. Hey, Carrie Crafts. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Marlene. Hey, Robin S. and Martha. Hey, Sheila. Hi, Zelda. Hey, Jennifer. Tawana. Minerva. Hi, Judy. Daisy. Carla. Victorious Creations. Welcome in. Hey, Sheila McGee. Welcome. Hey, DB. Says she's going to be watching from the bushes. She's probably watching the pregame. Hey, Patrice. Hope you had a nice day. Thank you for coming in. Hey, Kingsbury Crafts, Lucille Boykins with the S at the end. Hey, Stacy. Hope you're feeling a little better. Angel B. Hey, Eve. Hey, Dorica. Hi, Mary Brown. Hope you're doing okay. Hey, Kawanda, Valerie. Hey, Dumps. Hey, Linda, Elada. Or Addie for short. Thank you for that, Kawanda. I appreciate it. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Merlinda. 4G Town. I don't think I said hi to you. If not, hello. Hey, Danny. Ernique. Hey, Sharon Davenport. All right, Willie Roseman. I'm going to start scrolling. Hey, Barb, just so we can get going. Hey, Sandra. Oh, that's funny. I'm not ditching you. I'm going to be here for an hour. Hey, Marlise. Hey, Twyla. I would share. Hey, Roslyn. Hey, Terry. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I designed this shirt, and then in 2 softwares, and then I'm going to cut it out with my Cricut. I still love my Cricut. I'm going to cut it out with Cricut and put it on this shirt. And so the colors of the school that I'm making this for are gold and maroon. So I'm going to have part gold, and this is glitter. I'm going to have part maroon, that's Caesar Easy Weed. And then I'm going to have white. I about forgot the other color. And then I'm going to have some white. And so let's get started. Now, the thing that I like about Silhouette Studio software is, well, first of all, it's a very robust software. It's more robust than Cricut. I love my Cricut, but I don't design in Cricut. And for a couple reasons. Mainly because I cannot save my designs as a true SVG. And so since I sell designs, since I might want to cut them on a Silhouette or a Romeo, I always want to save them as an SVG, and then I'll take it into Cricut and cut it. Hey, Patricia. Hey, my Shadow Weaver. Hey, Laura. Hey, Lena Doyle Crafting. And so that's why I like to use Silhouette software. Now, the only one that lets you save a design as an SVG is Silhouette Business Edition. That goes on sale half price a lot. It might be there now. I don't know. I might check in a little bit. But for me, because I design rhinestone templates also, Silhouette Studio Business Edition is a great investment. When I bought it, I think I paid $59. I might have paid $49. The regular price is $99, but it does go on sale quite a bit. Hey, Mary Shannon, welcome. Thank you. And so I'm going to first design it in Silhouette software, and then I'm going to do the design in Cricut. So I'm going to go a little bit slow. So if you want to follow along and try it in your Silhouette software, then welcome to do that. And then again, I'll do Cricut. If you want to follow along with that and try your hand at it, that's fine too. I'm going to use certain fonts. You can do this with any fonts, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through, because I do think that certain parts of it need to be a big, bold font, and then certain parts of it I think should be a more script type font, but it doesn't have to be. So let me go ahead and open my Silhouette software, and then I will share my screen here in just a minute. Usually when I'm designing, I have my laptop plugged into a bigger monitor, so it's a little bit of a challenge for me just to design on this small monitor on my laptop, but we'll get through it. Okay, let me go ahead and add. Sorry about that. Okay, add my other camera to the stage, and then we're going to make that one larger, and then we're going to try to share my screen. And it'll take me just a minute. I want to share the entire screen so that you can see everything that I'm doing. Now, there we go. Okay, let me make this a little bit cleaner for you. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to try to watch the chat on the camera in front of me, but I won't be able to see the chat on my computer. Okay, so we're just going to try to make this so it's not as obnoxious as what it looks like now. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to type 2025. This is for a senior 2025 shirt. However, hey Stacy, this concept will work for all kinds of things. If we have time, I'll show you something else I was working on that's more of a holiday design. So even if you don't have anyone that's going to graduate in 2025, this is a concept that you can use for a lot of different designs. Okay, let me see if I can get my computer a little bit closer to me. And let me Oh, I can't get, okay, there we go. Okay, now I can't tell. I think you can still see my face. I think it's just small. Hey, Faith. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, hey, Beverly, from Nova Scotia. I would love to go to Nova Scotia. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Beverly. So I'm going to start with 2025. And I did put some sample fonts in my video description if you want to try any of these fonts. But there's so many you can use. The first thing I want to do is I want to click on this A right here. That is the text tool. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click right over here on my screen. And I'm going to type 2025. Now you might know ways that are better than I do. I'm not a real expert on silhouette, and so I might do something that's a little different than the way you do it. But what I have found, what I like is there's a lot of different ways to get, there's different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. No cats were harmed in the making of this video. Okay, so I'm going to make it bigger, and I don't have a particular size in mind right now. I mean, I have a general idea because I know I like my designs large, but I don't have an exact dimension that I want to use. First of all, let's color in this font. So we're going to go right over here. I'm kind of circling around it. It's this little palette. We're going to click on that palette, and I'm going to start with coloring it in with black because it's easiest for me to see. This is not the font that I want to use. So with it selected, I'm going to go up right here, if you can see that, click on the down arrow, and then this is a great font here on Creative Fabrica, and I have it linked below. It says it only works with Windows, and I use a Mac. It will work with Mac. It's just that it looks weird. So you just have these symbols, but you can see it's called AB Sports Varsity. So if you're a Creative Fabrica member, you can get this one, the download, for free. I'm going to go down and use one called University. Now, they do have fonts that are similar to what we'll end up with, such as this Varsity Regular, because I do want the outline and I want the inside. But this is a one-layer font that they've finagled a lot. And in Cricut, you cannot contour this. If you're used to Cricut, you know what that means. Contour means like keeping the inside, get rid of the outside. What I hoped to do was make 2 copies of it in Cricut and contour the outside on one, contour the inside on the other, so I could have them 2 colors. Because for me, I want this to be a 2-color font. Well, if I try to use this one with the outline already, if I go up here and I say release this path, it's a mess. And I have dealt with this before where I used part of it and sliced and diced part of it, but I found a much easier way. So let's go back and let's use this font instead. And I'm going to show you how you can make your own outlined varsity font. Hey, Delonda, thanks for being here. Let's see, who is this up here? Hey, Bonetta. Hey, Elevate Artistry. Your notification didn't go off. We just started. You're good. Okay, so I'm starting with this one that's called Varsity Regular. Again, this one up top, that looks weird because I'm on a Mac, is AB Sports Varsity. The only thing you'd have to do different on this is you'd ungroup it and move them apart because they're so close together. But I'm going to go with Varsity Regular. Nope, that's not the one I'm going with. I'm going with University. Okay, notice how it looks like it's 3.285 inches tall. It really isn't. There's so much dead space in here. So there's a couple ways you can get rid of that to see what your actual dimensions are. One is you can go to Object and Ungroup. The other is I could have gone to Object and make Compound Path. Either will do it. This one keeps them separate. So I went Object and I ungrouped them. Now let's go ahead and drag it so that it's about the size that I want it to be. Now I'm going to try to stretch my screen to get my proportions to show up. Because without my proportions, it's going to be, or my dimensions, it's going to be harder. But I may not be able to. Yeah, I would have to drag it wider for them to start showing up here. So we're just going to have to look at the dimensions down on the design itself. So let's go ahead and drag this. I want this to be around 10 inches wide. If you're doing this for a really small person and they wear a small shirt, you'll want to do it a little bit smaller. The beauty of, like I do so many rhinestone designs. Rhinestone designs, you cannot change the dimensions. You're stuck with the size. The beauty of these is I can do this design once, and then I can change the dimensions for smaller shirts or larger shirts. Right now, it's at 9.269 wide. I'm going to go just a little bit wider. I'm going to go up around 10, somewhere around 10 inches, which for me isn't a very big design. Let's see on this shirt. So I'm covering from 10 through 12. And on this medium shirt, oh, you can't really see it large, but there's plenty of room on this medium shirt. So we're going to go with 10. Now, I don't want it to only be 3.645 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this larger. And you'll start to see it starts getting too tall and looks a little weird. That's not bad. But I'm going to stop about right there. That is about 5.422 inches tall. So if anyone is following along and you want me to slow down, just let me know. I'd be happy to do that. But for now, I'll just keep moving forward. Hey, Miss Jazzy. Hey, Sonia. Hey, D. Smith. Hey, Bevy Jean. Okay. Yeah, Bevy Jean, I'm going to do Cricut and Silhouette. Okay, so right now, these are not grouped. And there's quite a bit of space between this 2 and the 5. And I want to move the O over just a little bit, not too much. And then I'm going to move this 2 over a little bit. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and group those now that I like the proportions, the dimensions, and the size. Now the goal of this first series of steps, the goal is to make that design that has not only the main design, but the space and then the little outline around it. So here's how you do that. Hey, Rondria. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to circle around this so you can see. This is the offset panel. I'm going to click on the offset panel, and then I'm going to click right here on offset. Now, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. You see there's a small offset. For purposes of the gap, I want it to be maybe a little bit larger. And let me make this smaller again. Okay, if I hit offset again, it's going to do an offset on my offset. So I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to select it again, click on the offset. Now we're back to that smaller offset. These have very squared off corners and angles. So instead of the rounded offset, I want to stay with the squared off offset. And then I'm going to move this up. Let's see what 0.09 looks like. I hit 0.09, then when I hit enter, it's going to show me the larger. And it barely moved. Let's go 0.1, and I'm going to hit enter, and it'll move. It's a tiny bit larger. Let me show you that that really does work. I'm going to put 0.15 here. I hit enter, and there you saw it move quite a bit more. For the gap, I don't want that large. I'm going to go back to 0.1. Let's go 0.11. That's going to be good enough. And then I'm going to click apply. You can see those are not grouped right now. I want to go ahead and group them. You don't have to, but I want to. And then I'm going to fill them in with a color. It doesn't matter what color. I'm just using colors to distinguish between the inside, the first offset, and now we're going to do an offset of the offset. So the offset is still selected. So we're going to go to offset again, and we're going to click on offset again. Notice it's still on the squared off one, and I think that will look fine. So I'm going to say apply. Now the second offset, they're not grouped together. So I'll say object, group, and we'll change it another color. Again, it doesn't really matter what color it is, but we'll change it to color. I just changed them colors. Hey, Robin, so that I can distinguish between all of them. So just a quick recap. We typed the 2025, that's this layer. I'm going to hit back so it goes to the right place. Then we did the green. Let's see if I can drag it out. That is an offset. That was our first offset. Then with the first offset selected, we did a second offset, and that's this layer. So notice that each layer has things behind it. I want everything to stick to my shirt. If you saw the thumbnail, you know that there's an inside and an outside with a gap between it. To get that gap is what we're getting ready to do now. So I want to drag the black layer off because I just want to work with these two layers. Now remember, the first offset's grouped and the second offset was grouped. So what I'm going to do is select both layers. I'm going to go up to Object, Modify, and Subtract. And then you can see if I put this into place, let me go ahead and center it. I'll select both items. Okay, now here is one thing. When you slice that or subtract it, something that happens in Silhouette is they each become individual again. So let me go ahead and group those back together. So here's the base layer of my design. I have both items selected. All I'm doing is getting it back in the middle. Uh-oh. Okay. So when I grouped the orange group together, I missed that inside. So I'll select everything this time, including the center circle, and I'll hit group. And then we'll align everything up. Okay. So far, does that make sense? Okay, now let's go ahead and change these, the colors that I'm going to use, just so that when I cut later, I can tell. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Lita. Thanks, Betty Jean. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Victoria's Creations. Okay. So now I'm going to change this outside one to kind of gold. And then the inside one, I'm going to change it to maroon. Now, if I had the hex key or numbers, I could put it there. For me, I'm going to hit red, and then I'm just going to drag this to maroon. It doesn't really matter unless I end up saving this as a PNG and printing it out on a DTF printer. It doesn't matter what colors I use. But I do like to have them close so I remember when I'm cutting it out what layer is what color. Okay, let's go ahead and group these together. And okay, it's all together. And I'll explain in a minute why it's important that you keep grouping everything together, because in this next step it's just going to make it easier. So now I want to put the name Emily inside here. And so I'm going to go back to the text tool, click on it, and click right down here. And I kind of think it's cute when you have all lowercase, even when it's a proper name. But I am going to go ahead and do a capital E and then type in Emily. Now, in the end, this is going to be white, but that's going to be hard to see. So let's turn it a dark gray. Well, I got to click off of it, back on it. Now I can fill it in with a dark gray. Now, after I get it a little larger, just so I can see it, you can't size it yet because I'm still going to change the font, and fonts have different sizes. But with it selected, I'm going to go back up here where you can select your font, click on it, and I'm going to use Bastion. And I do have Bastion linked in the video description. It's a very, very pretty script font. Okay, so there is Emily. Notice that is humongous, and that's why you don't get too caught up on the size until you change the font. Okay, let's just look at it at that size. Now, you might notice that it has these red, well, it's harder to see when it's blown up, but there's these red cut lines around it. If you are ever annoyed with those, with your items selected, you can see them right there. What those do is they help you understand where your cuts are going to happen. So for example, if you're used to Cricut Design Space, we need to do something that is similar to, I'm going to change this a color so you can really see them. If I did not do this next step, which is similar to welding in Cricut Design Space, it would cut through all of that. So it is all selected. I'm going up to Object, Modify, and Weld. Now this is different than Cricut Design Space. In Cricut Design Space, even this little dot would be stuck right there. But in Silhouette, anything that's not touching something else, when you weld, it doesn't stick it there. And so what I need to do is select Emily and go up and get that dot, and then I'm just going to go to Object and Group. Now that dot is not going anywhere. It's going to stay with Emily. Hey Diane, hope you're having a good day. Hey Yvonne Daniels. All right, so now we got rid of those cut lines, and so I'm going to turn this back to the dark gray. Except that I can't yet. Let's go up to panels. We're going to get rid of those red lines. Let me make it larger because I want you to see them. Okay, so you have that red line. It's just a cut line. It wouldn't affect anything. And in fact, when you make a design and you change it to be a print design, those red lines don't show up. But I don't like to see them. So I'm going to click on Line Style. I'm going to click on the second set of lines here. And then I'm going to select Transparent. And, oh, I didn't have Emily selected apparently. There we go. So you have to have what you want the lines that are around to go away selected. And I didn't have it selected. Okay, now once you change it to line style, so I went up here and I said line style. If I try to change the color of it, all that's doing is it's changing the line around it. So let's go back and hit Transparent. Then I have to go back to Panels and Fill Color. Now I can change the color of Emily to what I want. Hey Dunzel, you're good. Hey Shay Shay. Okay, so I'm going to make Emily a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to place it kind of where I think I want it. Now, I believe the design I did has it smack up here in the middle. And I think that's cute. You could just as easily do it down here. And I think that's really cute. You guys have a preference. Do you think Emily should be in the middle? Or do you think Emily should be down here? And we still have another step to go to make it stand out a little bit more. Middle or at the bottom? And is there anything that we've done so far that didn't make sense to you? The bottom, I like the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and do it at the bottom. I like it down there too. Okay, Rosin likes the middle. Hold on. Tilted to the right. Oh. kind of like that. Okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, middle, 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 middle. Okay, I think I got more middles. So let's go back up to the middle. And then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and select both items and go up to Object, Align, and I'm going to align it in the center from left to right. What I want to show you is, even though that is technically in the center, I often don't leave things in the technical center. I don't like this in the center. I want to move it to the right just a little bit. This tail is making it further to the left than what I think it should be. And then if you select everything and now you say Object, align it, not the top, not the bottom, but in the middle from up and down, that's where it would put it. I don't necessarily like it there. I'm going to move it down a little bit. I kind of like the tail of the Y hanging off. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to select everything, hit Command-C for copy, Command-V for paste, and just have this off to the side in case I mess it up. You could have Emily right beside the maroon. If you wanted to do that, I would still slice out so that you're touching your shirt. But you could, hopefully I've done this right, we'll see. You could go to Modify and Subtract. There you go. And then Emily would go right here, and you really wouldn't see any gaps. I don't like it that way so much. So we're going to go back, and we're going to do an offset to slice out of it instead. I already have an extra copy of Emily down here if I need it. And so I'm going to select the word Emily, and I want just a very small offset. So we're going to open this offset panel again. We're going to click on offset. And to me, that's just too large. I really want the 2025 to be recognizable as 2025. So I don't want a large offset. I don't even want it that large, even though that's not that large. Let's try 0.05. Let's change it a color. I'm going to change the offset white so it blends in with the back. And I think that's a better size for the offset. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to change the offset a different color to make it easier for me to work with. I don't know what color I want, but none of those. Okay, so now we're going to move the top layer of Emily off. And hopefully everything's still grouped. It looks like it is. If your 2025 is not all grouped together, when you try to slice it in one step, it won't work right. But mine is, so it should be fine. So with everything selected on my canvas, I'm going to Object, Modify, and Subtract. Okay, now notice all these little things became its own part and piece. We need to fix that before we send this to the cutter or before we save it. Hey, Cheryl. So to do that in Silhouette, I do not have to go find all those parts and pieces. They've made it very, very easy. And this is, I never knew about this until I was doing rhinestone designs, and Patrice showed this to us. Let me make sure there's no small parts that I want to get rid of. Because if something is really, really tiny in there, I don't want to keep it. But I don't see anything that's so small I want to get rid of it. To keep or to have everything that's maroon together, I'm going to go Panels, Select by Color. I'm going to click on Fill, and then I'll click on Maroon. Notice it says only shapes on the media. That means only the shapes on this white part. That's why I move everything all the way off. So I'm going to select everything that's in maroon. I'm going to go up to Object and Group. And so where it was in parts and pieces, now it's one. Now when I do that, I see a little part right there that I probably would have gotten rid of if I noticed it. I can go back and get rid of it, or when my design cuts, I can just weed it out. But I don't want to do it that way. Let's go to Object and Ungroup. And was this it right here? I think this was it. Let's select it and hit the Delete key on my computer or on my keypad. So I'll go back to Panel, select by color, get everything in maroon, go to Object and Group. Now everything in yellow is still in parts and pieces. See that? So let me go back so it gets to the right place. I'm still on Select by Fill Color, so now I can just click on the yellow over here, or gold, and go up to Object and Group. Now, there is nothing on my screen or on the template, or as they call it, on the media. There's nothing gray on the media anymore, so it's not selecting anything. But at this time, I'm ready to go ahead and bring Emily and add it back. And it needs to move to the right, so I'm just using the arrows on my keyboard to move it to the right place. I'm going to cut this out and lay it down by hand anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I like to see what it looks like. So now that I know my design is done, I'm going to get rid of everything over here I don't need, and I'm going to save this as an SVG so that I can cut it in Silhouette, Cricut, Leonardo, or on a Romeo or Juliet. So I'm going to hit File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and let's just call this 2025, and this was the Silhouette version. I would never name it this. I just want to be able to find it later if I want to take it into Cricut. And my desktop is crazy, so I want to name it 2025 Silhouette. Now, I want to say this is an SVG. And the only version of Silhouette software that does that is the Business Edition. So I click on SVG and I say, OK. Now it's on my desktop and I can pull it into Cricut and use it. Okay, let me go ahead and open Cricut. Let's see what time it is. Oh, it's later than I thought. Okay, we're going to do it in Cricut. I'm going to say New Project. And let me know in the chat, do you use Cricut Design Space to do your things? Do you use Silhouette? Or if you use something else, what do you use to design your things? Because if everybody in here or if no one in here uses Cricut Design Space, then I probably don't need to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. But I'd be interested to see what you guys use to design what you're going to cut out. Hey, Kristen. All right, so hey, Tanya. Hey, Mayola Floyd. Okay, so Bevy Jean uses Silhouette. That's good. Now, you're going to notice this is going to be very, very much the same, but in Cricut jargon. Rosalind uses both. Okay, so I'm going to click on text right here. And then I'm going to type 2025. I'm going to go right up here to the font area. Silhouette and Cricut, Silhouette and Leonardo. I haven't designed in Leonardo yet. Cricut Design Space. Okay, good. So we'll keep going with this. Now I want to change this, and remember the font that I used was University. I do not have Cricut Access. I don't have memberships to. I have Creative Fabrica membership, and for design stuff, other than like my YouTube memberships, I think that's it. So I have to find a system font, because if I use Cricut fonts, they're going to make me pay. Okay. So University is what I want to use. Let's just type it in, and here it is. So I'm going to click on it. Or I could have scrolled down and found it. You don't really design, but probably Cricut. Okay. Cricut. Okay. So quite a few Cricuts. So I'm going to click on University, and that changed my font. Now let's go ahead and make it larger. Now how large is that? 10.53. We'll go down just a little bit. I do want it at least 10 inches. Now in Cricut, can I pull straight down? Nope, it's not going to work. So what I need to do, I need to go ahead and go right over here. You can see it's on that layer, and I am going to ungroup those. Now I can select them, and I can unlock the proportions. If I unlock this, I can change the height or the width without affecting the other. Okay, Cricut. Kristen says she loved learning Inkscape. I will do Inkscape. Not tonight, but I will do Inkscape. I love Inkscape. Okay, so I'm going to unlock it, and then I can just drag it taller. I don't remember what size we did last time. Let's go with about 5 inches tall. A little over 5 inches tall. That'd be a good size. Okay, so let's go ahead and select everything and group it back together. Now, does anybody remember what the next step was? Cricut, Canva, and Silhouette. All right, Janika. Cricut, Silhouette, Business Edition, Leonardo, available to use. Does anybody remember what the next step was that we did in Silhouette? Because we're following those same steps in Cricut, just slightly different. Okay, Judy, that's what I love it. And Nicole, you're always giving me a hard time about Inkscape. You say you want to use Inkscape? Okay, Cheryl, you're right. So offset. It's all grouped together. Offset. Offset. All right. Okay, so with it all grouped together. Oh, Kristen, nope, because I just got here. Okay, good, Kristen. You're going to see it now. With it all grouped together, we're going up to offset. And notice, remember in Silhouette, we have the rounded corners, or you could do the squared off corners in certain fonts. Because this font is very squared off, we're going to do the squared corners. I don't have a particular distance in mind. I just kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to drag this down. And I like how in Cricut, when you drag it and you release your hand from the keyboard, you don't have to hit apply or anything or the enter button. It just shows you. And I want it to be just a little bit smaller, I think, to have enough room between the numbers. And I can always go back and move the numbers apart if I need to. But we're going to go, let's go there. It's going to weld my offsets together, which I'm perfectly fine with. That way they'll be one unit. I think I'm perfectly fine with it. We'll find out. I don't use Cricut all that often, but we will get through this. Okay, so we're going to click apply, and there we have the offset. Now let's turn it a lighter color so that we can see between the various layers a little bit better. Now that offset is still selected. So, okay, Victoria's Creations. That is correct. Sheila, you're a tardy student tonight. You're getting a detention. You're getting a detention. Okay, so the offset is selected. And like Victoria's Creation said, we're going to go back to offset. And we're going to do an offset of the offset. Now, it stayed over here on the squared off area. I have plenty of room. I want to make this a tiny bit bigger. You can leave it the same size. I'm going to make it a tiny bit bigger. Not that big. You have to release the key before it shows you the correct number right here. So even though, see, I slide it, it still says 125. When I let go of it, then it shows the true thing. I'm not that fond of that. But that's okay. Not that big of a deal. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now the spy is going to be a little wonky. I'm going to go back. I don't like how this is all welded or this is all one. We're going to go back. We're going to fix that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I think the twos will be okay. But to cut off part of that, I'm going to click on shapes. I'm going to click on a rectangle or something of that nature. A square, rectangle, it doesn't matter. Change it a different color. And then, let's see, I need to get rid of this. And then I want to unlock the proportions so I can drag this shorter. Okay, click off of back on it to move it. Okay, we're going to make this 2. No, let's leave the 2s alone. Let's make this part of the 5 smaller. All I'm doing is I'm making room for the offsets to not be all stuck together. So I'm going to keep a copy of the pink thing. Select the pink thing, hold, I think it is Command. Uh-oh. Okay, let's go to 2025. Right now I think all I had it done was grouped. Let's go to Combine. Weld and Unite are very similar, but Unite will let you undo it. So let's say I wanted to move my letters apart later. I could undo Unite. I cannot undo Weld without going back, back, back. So I tend to use Unite. Okay, so now I can select the pink thing. I want it on top, so I'm going to say Bring to Front. Now it is selected. I'm going to hold down the Command key and see now I can use Slice. The reason is Slice will only work with 2, I would call them layers. You'd call them paths in a different software. And with 2025, when it was just grouped, it really wasn't a single layer. And so once I united those and added the square in, then I could slice. So we'll slice that away. And then I'll clean it up here in a minute. Let's go ahead and slice off part of this 5. So I have the pink thing selected. I'm going to hold the Command key down, select the 2025, which remember was united, and click Slice. So now this is what I want to keep. And all of this, I can just select it and delete it. So now we're back to 1 layer. Okay, so now we're going to go back to offset. The reason I had to back up was I just didn't like how the offsets were bumping into each other where there wasn't much space. So I'll say Apply. I'll stay with that 0.097. I'm just changing it a color to make it easier for us to see it. And then I'm still on the offset, and that offset is welded because of this next feature. But let's do an offset on the offset. And then apply. I could have made it larger, but it's going to be fine. Okay, so now I have my main word or text, my numbers, an offset of it, and an offset of the offset. So now, does anyone remember? Kristen, I could have ungrouped them and just selected the S. You're right. I could have done that. I could have ungrouped them and only selected the S, but I went ahead and united them so it was still 1 layer. So either would work. Okay, precious pieces, enjoy your Bible study. Hi, Meredith. Okay. Yes, a cheat sheet would be good. Okay, so anybody that was here early when I did this in Silhouette, does anybody remember what I did next? All right, I don't see anybody yet. So here we're going to go on. Hey, Annette Price. So the goal that I'm trying to do now is to make what looks like a varsity font, but in a way where I can have the 2 different colors of vinyl used. Let me show you why we're doing it this way. I talked about this earlier. If I used, let's find varsity. The goal is, so the T was capitalized, nothing else was. Let's don't do that. Okay, text, I'm going to capitalize T-E-X-T. The goal is to have it look like this. But I want the inside to be one color and the outside to be another color. So I thought that I could, yes, Lakeisha, I thought I could use the contour feature and separate them. And you cannot with this because these are still one layer fonts. So that's why we're doing it this way. But Lakeisha was right. I'm going to move this, which I want to keep, off. And then I'm going to select these two layers and I'm going to slice the top out of the bottom. Now, if each of those layers was not welded or united, you wouldn't be able to do all 4 of them at a time. So I would make sure that each layer is united so that you can. Notice that you can, so we will. Okay, so all we want to keep is this. So we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of that. Then we can just move this back up into place. Let's go ahead and use the align feature. So both are selected, and we're going to align it both ways. Okay. Now here in this software, what I have found is this next step where I put Emily in and slice it is a little different. Although, since combine can be undone, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it by using combine. Whoops. Okay. Just want to make sure it was a different layer. Let's go ahead and change one of these a different color so you can easily distinguish. Okay, I hadn't thought about this. We're going to try this because usually I would do 2 sets of this and I would slice out of the outline separate from the inside. But because Cricut came up with Unite, which supposedly can be undone, I think this will be easier than what I was doing. Okay, we're going to use the same font, which was Bastion. So I'll click on text, and then I'm just going to type Emily. Oops, my caps lock was on. And then we're going to change this to Bastion. And I don't know why I have 2 of them. Ooh, that's not the one I want. There's the one I want. The second one is the one that I linked in the video description. Okay, so this time, since some people voted on putting it at the bottom instead of up in the middle, let's put this one at the bottom. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and center those. And remember, even though you center something technically, it may not look that great. So I want it centered horizontally. And that looks okay. I probably would move it to the right a little bit. See how all of the 5 is exposed, but part of the 2's cut? I'd move it a little bit. And let's just move it up a tiny bit. Okay. So the next thing, if you want to have a little gap between Emily and 2025, which I think looks good, I need a second, I'm just going to say this, I need an offset of Emily. So I'm going to click on Emily, and I'm going to go back to offset. This time I'm going to do rounded, and it's going to weld all my offsets. I don't want it that large. Let's just go down to let's try 0.07. I think I'm going to like that. I don't like a huge gap, but I like a little gap. Well, and the other thing, Sheila, is when you center it, this tail makes it too far to the left, in my opinion. Hey, Marta. And so I like to move it over so the tail is a little bit not taken into consideration. Okay, so I'm going to apply that. Now we're getting ready to find out if using Unite was a good thing or not here in just a minute. I don't know. Oh, I don't know about this. We'll see. So what I want to do is I want to slice out the word Emily from 2025. So we'll do that. And we're going to get rid of that. Okay, good. Notice how it kept everything together in this software. In Silhouette, it didn't. Remember, it was all parts and pieces. And I had to go and put things back together again. Okay, here is the big thing. Is it going? No. No, since it's a slice result, I cannot undo those. But now notice contour is there. So I could use the contour. I know two ways to kind of work with this now. So let's make a copy of that. With one, I want to get rid of all the insides. I don't think this is the easiest way to do it. I think my other way would have been easier. But this isn't bad. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I don't think I want that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did want that. Okay. Okay, we're getting rid of the inside. Okay, I have a few parts and pieces left on the inside. This is a little confusing to me. Okay, that looks good. Now let's change that to, well, that's going to be gold. And then now let's do this, but let's get rid of all the outside. Let's keep the inside. I'm not a huge fan of contour because I get really confused. Okay, so we're keeping the insides, which should be kind of easy to do. I think my other way would have been easier for me, at least. Okay, I need to get rid of the, I need to get rid of something over there. I think I need to get rid of that and that. Okay. So we have our two parts of the number, and then we have Emily. And so there would be our final product in Cricut Design Space. Put your image in the bottom left corner so you can't see what's going on with it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. You can watch it that way better. Okay, I'd like to show you, even though I'm running late, I'd like to show you what I think is easier than using contour, if you think you have time. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to run through it fairly quickly. So this is going to be 2025, and I want this to be, let's see, University. I don't like contour at all, not with complex things like that. And I'm probably not going to be as picky about the size and all that this time. I just want you to see this other way. All right, let's ungroup those first. Now the lock is unlocked. So we're going to drag this larger, and that's way too big. We don't want a 14-inch shirt. Okay, that's not bad. That is not bad right there. Okay, now remember, we got rid of some of this 5, and I think you'll want to do that or it's going to look weird. So we're going to have 2 of those, and I don't remember who said it, but if I wait and weld those or unite those later, I think this is what she was meaning. You can do this by just putting it on the 5 and it'll slice because you didn't have a whole group of things. But you can do it either way. Either way will work. And then let's go ahead and make this smaller. I find that I have to click off of things and back on them to get them to move easily. We're going to bring that to the front. It is already selected, so I'll hold Command down, add the 5, and then I'll slice that. And I might have sliced off too much, but it'll be okay. I have this already saved in Cricut. That is bad. That is bad. Bad, bad, bad. I went too extreme. See, I have to click off of it to get it to move in the right way. Okay, that's going to look a little better. So slice that, and then we can just get rid of all these parts and pieces. Okay, now let's move it over a tiny bit, and then we're ready to start doing those offsets again. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to go ahead and for now I'll just group them. So we're going to do a quick offset. We're going to make sure it's over here on the squared off, and I can live with that size, but I'd rather it be about 0.9. So I'll hit apply, and then we're doing a second offset. This will be an offset of my offset. Let's make it a little larger. All of this is up to you. There's no specific sizes. I know, I don't like that either, Kristen. Okay, we're going to hit apply. Let's change that a different color so we can truly see the different layers. Okay. So we're going to drag this first one off, and we're going to slice. All I want to keep is this outside piece. I'm getting rid of everything else. Okay, so now, here in a minute, I'm going to show you what I like to do rather than using contour. To me, it's just easier, just a lot easier for me. Okay, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and group those. And I'm going to type Emily. And let's change that to Bastion. And remember, I have 2 bastions that show up. I believe it was the one on the bottom, which I think is so much prettier. We're going to change that a color so you can see a distinction. And then we're going to drag it quite a bit larger. Now, Emily has those cut lines in there, so let's go combine. Interesting. I don't even have a unite option, but we're going to do weld. Okay, so we're going to put it where we want it. We're going to say that looks good right there. And then we're going to have an offset of Emily. And that's just to make that space so it has a little gap and you see a little bit of the t-shirt there. Okay. Now here's what I tend to like to do. And I shouldn't have grouped those. Let's ungroup those. I like to just make an extra copy of this. And what I like to do is I like to select either the inside or the outside. Let's see what I have here. I have the outside. It is still, no, it's not. I can find it over here if I want. But with it selected, I'm going to hit Command, add Emily to it. Let me back up. Let me back up. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're getting rid of the outside. And then over here, we're going to get rid of the inside. So we're going to go look for the inside over here. Let's see. There we go. I want to get rid of the inside. Okay, so don't move anything around. And I'm sorry I just confused you there. But now you can slice. Okay, now we have to combine those. Let's unite them. Let's add Emily back to the top. Now I can slice Emily out of that. So all I want to keep here is this. Get rid of everything else. I'm going to need to get my 2025. Okay, I think I'm going to be okay here. And then I'll slice Emily out of the outside. And I'll just drag it off. To me, that is a lot easier than doing all of that contouring. Let me make this big. And I will do an actual video on this where I didn't go in the wrong direction. I just thought I had discovered something and I hadn't, so I should have stayed with this. Okay, so you try to center them. You're just going to have to do a lot of it by hand. But these are things you're going to place down by hand when you cut them out as separate layers. Okay, did I keep an Emily? I sure hoped I did. So at this point, you're just going to layer this in here and you'll see what it looks like. Now, if I wanted to get rid of any little pieces, like maybe that gray piece there, I could go to contour and take that one thing out. I'm not too concerned about it. And so at this point, I would click on Make, and I would cut this out and put it on my shirt. Now, I had promised my husband and my son that we would watch the Chiefs game, which started at 7:20, I believe, which is 20 minutes ago. And so probably what I'll do from here is this weekend, come back on and I'll cut it out so you can see it on the shirt. My offset in CDS does really work. Cricut Design Space. Okay. So when you saw those two ways of doing it, do you feel like you'd be more comfortable doing it in Cricut Design Space or Silhouette? Which seemed easier? To me, they seem about the same difficulty. Neither of them are difficult. You just have to remember kind of what steps to go in. And like me, when you get off of the steps, just hit back, and kind of think your way through it. And you can always undo and fix the way you should be doing it. So Bevy Jean, I was going to cut it with my Cricut. When I come back on, I probably could do my Silhouette, or I could do one layer in each. I don't know. It's all the same to me. Yeah, Cheryl, it's just kind of slightly different. It's the same general concepts of how you get there, but slightly different. So Kristen says Cricut Design Space. Design Space. Okay. So thank you guys for coming in. I'm sorry I'm cutting this short before just getting started. Oh, they haven't started yet? Well, if they haven't started, I might cut this real quick. I have my Cricut Design Space here, right now. So what I want to do is I want to change Emily to, I would turn it white. It's kind of harder to see. Let's just do it a light gray. That's going to be my white vinyl. The inside, that's my outside. I want that to be gold. And then I want this to be maroon. And because I'm cutting them on 3 different layers anyway, I don't care that they're not lined up the way they should be because you're going to cut them separately. Rosalind, you can change your mind. You like it better on the bottom. I forgot this one is on the bottom. Yeah, it does look good on the bottom. It leaves 2025 a little bit more intact. Okay, so let me plug in my Cricut real quick. We'll see how far we get. And who was it who told me that they were just interviewing Patrick Mahomes? So I imagine several of you, okay, kickoff. As long as I'm done, not too long after kickoff, I'll be fine. All right. Okay, I think I just took my computer away, didn't I? Okay. Let's see. Let me see if I can add that back. Nope. Can you guys still see my screen? Because you should be able to still see my screen. You have 2 seniors. That's awesome, Luna. Okay, you can still see my screen. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and say make. And I'm not going to add it to my stuff right now. We're going to start with Emily. What's going to happen, I believe Cricut changed this. I think when I select HTV, I think it's going to mirror it. That's what I've been told. Okay, my Cricut is connected and it's on. Let's just see. If it doesn't, yes, Sheila, this is football. Once I say, I'm going to say everyday iron on, look, it automatically mirrored it for me. That's pretty sweet. So let me get my mat. Gotta find a mat that's sticky enough. Okay, I have a few mats. Let's find one that'll hold my vinyl. I think this one's mine. So the first layer was Emily, and that, ooh, that's sticky enough. That is my white HTV, and I have this huge roll of Caregi. I don't know how you say it, Caregi, I think. 12 inches wide by 25 feet long. I'm not sure if you can still get it in the 12-inch wide. I know Delana one time said something about it seemed like now they were narrower. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it on the roll. I'm not even going to cut the roll off because we're in a hurry. We got football to watch. Okay. And then, let's see, where are you cutting? That should be fine. I have a little bit of the mat that doesn't have vinyl on it, but I think it's where it's not going to cut. So my Cricut light is flashing for me to load it. Oh, this is not a very sticky mat. Let's go ahead and start that cutting. Now, can you guys also see the top of my table? Because what I see is the top of my table and my face. But you guys said you can still see my computer screen. Thanks, Luna. So you can still see my computer screen. Do you also see my table? Well, can you see 2 frames or 3 frames? Because I'm really confused. Okay, so now you see the table of me. Okay, I'm sorry. So somehow I disconnected my computer. Okay, let me see if I can get this where you see it a little better though. And it says it's 100% done, so it's going to spit it out here in just a second. Typically, I would put my mat over and pull it off, but it's so not sticky. It doesn't matter. Let me go ahead and get another layer started. Let's see. Let me figure out which one. Okay, so this is the 2025. 2025 is in maroon, and it is also using the same setting, but hopefully a stickier mat. Yep. I need to buy some new mats. I have a few more that I can drag out if I need to. Okay, so for the maroon layer, I didn't even look at my vinyl. Hopefully this is a nice chunky piece of vinyl here. I think it is. I keep scraps. So I am going to go ahead and slice that off straight. And Demps, if you're watching, these are not my fabric scissors. These are my non-fabric scissors. With HTV, unless it's one of those patterned ones that you have to put a mask on. With the vast majority of HTV, you are going to put the shiny side, which is the carrier sheet, down on the mat. I need to move that up. I'm going to get not cut right if I don't move it up. Okay. So we are going to use everyday iron-on setting again. And once again, it mirrored it automatically for me. Now I want to tape my vinyl down. You can see I have some up above where it's sticky. So I'm just going to tape that down. And let's cut that. And then the last layer, which is going to be the trickiest to weed, is this gold glitter. Here. Once again, I'm going to put it shiny side down. And because my mat's not very sticky, why don't I just get a sticky mat? A brand new unused mat. Those don't come out very often. All right, that one is 70% of the way done. This new mat feels so good. And then for this, I'm going to change it to glitter cardstock. So the colors in Mama, this is rainbow. Thanks, Patrice. Yes, there is Beauty Berry in it also. All right, one last layer. That's going to be a big design. That's a big design. It'll be fine. Okay, so I want to change my material. because I'm using glitter. So I want this to have more cutting power. Come on. Come on. It's spinning now. Is the heart citrine? It is citrine AB. Yes. Okay, so I am clicking on what's called browse to look for glitter because I don't have it saved as one of my favorites. But we're going to do glitter iron-on. And did it mirror it? It did. That is a nice feature. That is a really nice new feature. So basically, based on what material you select, it knows whether to mirror it or not. You can always override that, but it does mirror it for you automatically. Okay. I'm going to try to get through this really quickly. I have not used iron-on vinyl for a long time, HTV. So hopefully I do this right. Let's go ahead and start weeding. The thing I love about HTV is the weeding. If you get a good cut, let's pray for a good cut. It weeds really, really nicely, very easily. Hopefully it's weeding right because I'm just pulling at it. Okay, so who kicked off? And who's the receiving team? Let's see. Oh, good, Luna. He's graduate of 2027. And I really do want to show you how you can use this type of design with things that don't have to be graduation year related. And I have a really kind of fun design to show you. So either I'll do a pre-recorded video on that or I'll do it next Thursday. Do I look a little frantic the way I'm weeding? Because I feel a little frantic. All right, let's get the center out of my zero. And I think that's it. Now, even though we have, nope, I got that one. Even though I have some of those little parts and pieces, because it is HTV and the cut was good, they stayed on there. So here is what we have so far. And then we're done with the Cricut because at this point, if something didn't cut well, we're done. And I do have my heat press on. I don't remember exactly what temperatures I'm supposed to be using. Pretty much, I think that most of them were in the area of 300. Most of them are in the area of 300 in about 10 seconds. And I do know at least one of these when I was looking today, I think it was this one, was a warm peel. Or was it a cold peel? Something was a cold peel and something was a warm peel. The white was a cold peel. Okay, let's see. We want to save our little scraps. And then let me see if I can find you guys over here again. Stop sharing. Ooh, I look red. My face is red because it's hot in here. It's hot. Okay, so I asked you guys a question and then I forgot to look at the chat. So, you need an extra fun, you can have the game. I know, but cheese fan are crazy about it, but that's true. My son is here and they made ribs. And so I want to watch the game, but I really want to spend time with Tim and John. So this is going fast though. It's not going to take much time at all. And what they're doing is they are DVRing it so that they could wait on me. Y'all, did I just screw that up? I was yapping and not paying attention. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, I think I'm good. But they are briefly warm the glitter. I have heard that, Kristen, that helps soften it up and makes it easy, but look how easy this is to weed. So they are recording the game. See, I feel like here's where I messed it up maybe. I don't think so. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, fine, fine. It's going to look relatively the way it's supposed to. I might have messed up the weeding a little bit, but I don't think so. But I'm not going to ditch. I'm still going. So as long as I get down there and we can catch up with the live game by the end of halftime, they'll be happy. They will be happy. This is really, really pretty. I believe that this glitter one, which is Mary Maid or something, Mary something, I believe it said $2.90. Let me go ahead and turn my heat press down. I think right now I have it on for rhinestones. I do. All right. So I think we have a couple people that might try this project. If you do, please post pictures in the Facebook group. Those thin lines when you want them to, yeah, and so that's right, Kristen. If you just use one layer of it, even in Cricut, you cannot separate them. So doing the offset and then the offset of the offset makes it where you can. And if you wanted to have each of these a different color, you would be able to finagle that too, but not in the actual varsity, not in the true font. You're going to have to do an offset of an offset and then kind of play with that. Okay, that looks really good. I like it. And I thought that would be the hard layer to weed, but that was not hard at all. Now, what did I do with Emily? Emily, where are you? It's still on the roll. I just have to find the roll. Anybody see what I did with that big white roll of HTV? You guys know I always lose things. But I didn't leave this general vicinity. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to show you where it was, but I'm going to go over here and just get it off the table. Okay. Oh my gosh. So they are watching it without me, but it is being DVR'd so that we can't, so I can see it from the start. But I hear screaming going on downstairs. And it sounds like good screaming, not the blood curdling screaming that Tim does when he's mad at the TV. So I assume something happened. Didn't toss it. I know. Victoria's Creations, it was sitting right here beside me. Right here beside me. Okay, please weed well. Everything else has weeded really well. This feels pretty thick. This feels thicker than what I remember the vinyl being like. Please weed. Oh, good. Okay. Thank goodness. So I think that what I will do is I'll start with the gold outline. That's going to allow me to place everything else where it should be. Hey, Baby Giant Services. This is what I should put under the heat press, Kristen. I think you were the one that suggested the glitter HTV. This sucker is harder to weed. It just feels thicker than what I remember it being. Oh, Gail, you were in your silhouette class. I was having silhouette class. What stone is Mama in? Mama is in Rainbow. And I decided to wear my Mama shirt because my son's here. Thanks, Annette. All right. Getting there, getting there, getting there. I think since the gold was a cold peel, I think I'll go ahead and put that on my shirt. Now, I got this shirt at the Dollar Tree. And I've used this same shirt one time before when I was doing DTF. And it kind of left a little bit of pressure marks. And when it came out from under the heat press, the color had slightly changed, which eventually pretty much went back to normal. This is my first time to do this design, so I wanted to use this Dollar Tree shirt. But I'm just warning you that the shirt may not hold up as well as like a Gildan or a Bella Canvas. First thing I want to do is just go ahead and pre-press it. Get any moisture out. I should be using my lint roller too. I don't have it right here. And then I'm going to find the center of my design pretty much by creasing. That's close enough. For those of you that watch me all the time, you're like, what happened to Marilyn? Oh, no. No, don't pick up that. Look at what it's doing. When I put it together, it's picking up the vinyl. That's tragic. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Stay where you're supposed to be. Oh, no. This is not good. I always do this, but it doesn't. Oh my goodness. It ruined it. It ruined it. And I don't even have another, I don't have enough of this to even, do another layer right now. So we're going to move on without this layer. I did, Cheryl. Kristen. Okay, well, that was a hot mess, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're just going to keep going and pretend like it didn't happen. I told you I haven't used heat transfer vinyl for a very long time. So if you really want to see how this shirt turns out, watch the pre-recorded video that I'm going to make with a better shirt. No worries. Just call it a night and go relax. Sheila, I'm going to get this on here. This time I'm going to fold it the correct way because I will find something to cut that final layer out with. I'll find something. And so that I can at least have a usable shirt. I appreciate it. Okay. That's right. I'm doing a Dollar Tree shirt, so not a huge deal. But it's not a ruined shirt. That part is ruined. I'll still be able to use the shirt. I feel like I should have had the temperature up higher. Let's see what we get. Thank you, Renee. Hey, Sean. That was tragic. I could almost figure out where they go. It's not worth it. That's a good deal. Even for a bag of... Okay, so this is Caesar Easy Weed. I believe Caesar Easy Weed can be a hot or a cool peel. I'm going to leave it sit because I still have this to finish. Renee, I just ruined my outside glitter layer because I folded it the wrong way to find the center, because I don't hardly ever do HTV after getting a DTF printer. It's just super easy to just design and print. And I screwed it up. I made a bad mistake. But I have some other stuff that I can probably use. All right, see if it's staying down. It is. I always hate when you pull up HTV and you feel like it's gonna stretch it and pull it. So I try to hold my hand down so it doesn't stretch too much. And then once I get the 2 layers on here, the 2 layers on here that I can get on here, I will put it under the heat press one more time with a Teflon sheet on top of it, because I like the way the Teflon sheet puts a little texture in it. Okay, here's what we have so far. Oh, here's what we have so far. My, oh my. I'm trying to remember if I've ever just had to quit a video before. Because I messed up like that. It'll be okay. Now, I don't like having this on my vinyl. So I am going to find a sheet of paper or a Teflon sheet. Well, here's a piece of parchment paper. I would rather have a Teflon sheet. And I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. And I'm going to have my Teflon sheet under where that plastic, the cover sheet meets the vinyl. And I am going to smooth it out before I put it under there. The HTV, that is. And if I would have left myself more room, it would have been easier. But we'll make it work. Okay. So, it's... Okay. So all letters are showing. I'm just going to do this so it doesn't fall off when I go to my heat press. Thanks, D. Smith. Don't worry about it. That's right. Okay. We'll get this layer on. I'll show you what I have so far. And then when I figure out what to outline it with, I'll either show it to you next week or I'll put it on Facebook. I'll probably just show it to you next week. Alrighty. I'm going to try to hold this in place. Yeah, Sheila, I kind of am. I was trying to sound like her because they were saying that I could be like Delonda and say, don't worry about it. I am chanting in my head, it's fine, everything's fine. Something like that. It's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. Alright, let's go ahead and get this out of here. And then I'm going to let this cool down for a little bit. I got little wrinkles in there, but we're going to smooth that out in a little bit. I believe this was the one that it said wait till it's cooled off. It's staying down. I could probably take it off now, but I'm going to wait just a minute. Thanks, Paula. Been kind of a wreck. I should have had another one right here on this side because I'm going to show you. You can see a little crease right there. Hopefully when I put this back under the heat press with a Teflon sheet, hopefully that crease goes away. So let's go ahead and take it off. Nope, it's not staying down. It was staying down on the Y. See how far I get. Are you going to stay down? Yep, you're good. It might just be up close to the top. I might not have had it as far under the press as I should have. Yeah, this is all coming off okay down here. I'll take it off as far as I can and cut it. Okay, I see where it is. So let's go ahead and put this back under. It is toward the top of it where it is not staying down. Now I have a Teflon sheet built into my machine or my heat press. So don't worry, when I put this down, it is going to have a Teflon sheet over it. I'm going to cut away some of this excess that was on top of the other things. Yep, Chiefs Ravens. I don't like it either, Jesse. I like the stuff that just comes right off. And let me see, where is my, there is a ceramic tile right over here. So this brand of HTV used to be one of my favorite brands, but I can tell, oh my good gosh, okay, there, I was stuck. I can tell that it is way thicker than it used to be. I'm not really liking it. I have really messed up this shirt, guys. It's a little... This is not how to do a live. I'm just going to put it that way. Not how to do a live at all. I'll show you the mistakes. I don't ever want to hide mistakes. So Diane, you're saying go Chiefs. Did anything really good happen? Got a little wrinkly there. I will not buy this again. I used to love it. Like I said, I can tell it's a different formula or something. It's much thicker. It used to be nice and thin. It used to weed super easily. Okay. After that little snafu, I don't know that I want to put it on there again, but I'm going to, because now I have some spots there. I'm going to put a second Teflon sheet. What is it? Oh, I'll show you, Miss Jassy, just a second. I'll show you what not to buy. It looks fine from where you're sitting. Sheila, that's... Cameras can make it where people don't see the flaws. There are a lot of flaws in this. I don't like this at all. I'm just going to be honest. It looks terrible. You would definitely not want to sell anything that looks this bad. I'm just going to set this down for about 4 or 5 seconds. Annette, I got that Teflon cover off of Amazon. Okay, 7 to 7. Thank you, Diane. I do have an old video where I said how to make inexpensive fixes to your HTV Ront. And, oh, it looks better now. And I have it linked under that video, the Teflon cover and the mat. Okay. I am not proud of this. Not at all. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. Hey, Sharon. Because it should have the outline around it, which would make it stand out. So if I would not have messed up and stuck the two sides that are sticky together, it would look way better. But now I have the outline all over the place where it doesn't belong. But it would look like that. At least I can kind of show you. But because some of the outline pieces peeled up and then sat back down in the wrong place, some of them are just flat out missing. It's horrible. But you can get an idea of what it would look like. Oh my goodness. Okay, I tried, you guys. I tried. I will do a pre-recorded video on how to do this. I may do 2 separate ones, one in Silhouette, one in Cricut. But this is what we have for now. It doesn't look good, but it is what it is. And I learned something. I learned don't stick those two things together. And don't use, was it Miss Jassy that asked? I will not buy this again. Before they changed their formula, their manufacturer, whatever they did, I loved this. I will not buy it again. It's way too thick. Way too thick. It didn't weed well. And then on the future pressings, it got a little bit wrinkly. So I didn't link it and I won't link it. It's going to be linked in some of my old videos because it's before I bought my new box and I used to love it. So thanks, Dimps. Alrighty. Go wrong today it did. I'm sorry, Sharon. I am very human, that's for sure. Okay, well, I appreciate, yes, Caregi is what it is, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not after that. So thank you guys for being here. Looks like most of you stayed around and for a fiasco. I appreciate it. Be on the lookout for the pre-recorded videos. Hopefully I'll get those made this weekend, and then I'll be back next Thursday. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you.